Today's show is sponsored by Smart's Give Greatness Contest. Go to coolcutteacher.com/greatness to enter an educator and yourself as the person nominating to win a classroom technology package valued at $40,000. Learn more about the details of this contest at the end of the show. Lindsay George, a first-year teacher with an awesome mentoring experience, episode 321. And if you want to hear about the other half of this mentoring experience, check out last week's Motivational Monday episode. Enjoy!
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
So today we're talking with Lindsay George. Now, she's the other side of the mentoring relationship with Stephanie Goldman. And we recently had Stephanie on the show, and I was so intrigued by this technology-infused mentoring relationship that she has with Lindsay that I asked if Lindsay would come on the show. And Lindsay, you are a first-year teacher, and you're getting ready as we're recording this to wrap up next week. How's your first year gone?
It's been amazing. I've had some, hills and valleys, but overall, it's been a really great experience. And Stephanie has been a huge part of that, helping with everything from supplying me with extra tissues because I run out because I didn't know how many to have to, lesson planning. And it's been a great experience so far.
So what are some of the things that Stephanie has done that have helped you the most?
She's been a smiling face in the morning is actually as simple as that sounds. I'm from out of town, so I drive into town and she's in town. So when I get here, it's just nice to have somebody that's like, good morning. I start your day off right, leaving everything else that you're worried about behind, and her being that fresh face in the morning to kind of help me get ready to teach these kids that are so great. And she's like bridges the gap between what I learned in college and how to actually apply that. So she's been really great with that.
What was the thing that when you started teaching, you realized, oh my goodness, I wasn't prepared for this? And she helped you with that?
I would say the lesson planning, actually. We did a lot of it in college, but the way that she does it, we do a lot of Google Docs and everything like that. And it's just a really collaborative way to do it instead of having to sit down the old fashioned way at a table with a pencil. We're both since I'm out of my classroom, I'll be in her classroom coming up with things or researching things to do. We have this document online that's a very collaborative. I can sit at my computer and work on it, and she can see me working on it, and she can sit at hers, whether that be at the school at the end of the day or at our homes on the weekend. It's easy, and she can put a link in, and I can see she has all of this data or worksheets or anything that we've used in the past, forms, slides, anything like that. She can link into the lesson plan, so I can just grab it from there instead of having to, how we all do the teacher pay teacher thing and researching something to use. She already has all of that in a lesson plan, so I can just click on that, and it's a very instant gratification. It's right there in front of my face if I ever need it.
How easy is it for you to take those plans you do collaboratively and actually implement them in the classroom? Because I know when I first started planning, somebody had me using a format that was totally not practical. It was I had to do my lesson plans, and then I had to turn around and actually plan what I was actually going to do in the classroom. So is it go directly or not?
It does, and she kind of gives me room to change it a little bit to my kids, because you know how all kids are going to be different. So we plan together, but our kids are different. So it gives you room to add something at the last minute, hey, this didn't work, so let me adjust that really quickly. And since it's not written, I hate when I have a piece of paper with a lesson plan like I had to do in college and I had to mark through something. That drove me crazy, just my OCD. So having the technical lesson plan on the screen, I can just really go in really quick and be like, okay, I need to change that because that didn't work with my first block, so I can adjust it for my second block. It just makes it a lot easier to, I see it. It's just little notes on my screen, and then I can implement it right away and make even more adjustments or notes to what worked or what didn't work before I teach my second class.
In your second year next year, are you going to do this type of planning even when you're not working with Stephanie?
I am blessed enough to be able to work with Stephanie again next year.
Applause.
I know, I'm so excited. Yes, but we're going to implement it again just like we did this year. And it's so nice to be able to just, like I said, me living out of town, work with her collaboratively on the lesson plans at the same time without having to stay after school for a long period of time. We can just kind of work on it as we see fit and get it done while working on it at the same time.
Lindsay, I'm sure you've kept up with a lot of your friends who've gone into teaching, and I'm sure they've had lots of different mentoring relationships.
Right.
And, sometimes they go well and sometimes they don't.
Right.
How do you think yours is different than some of your friends? And we're not asking you to name names or districts or anywhere, because I know your friends have probably gone all over the place. But how would you compare this relationship you have with Stephanie and using the technology and that sort of thing to how others are working?
I got really lucky with Stephanie. You're always afraid as a new teacher that you have new ideas and you have those fresh studies that you have fresh in your brain because you just graduated, and you're nervous that whatever mentor teacher you get put with or paired with, that they're not going to have that same flexibility that you have. And she's been very flexible. She's been teaching longer than I have, so she knows what works, what doesn't work. So we've been able to bounce ideas off of each other in that way, where I've had friends that I've talked to that have gotten stuck with the teacher that's been teaching a while and have kind of been stuck in their ways and not willing to use technology in a way that's collaborative. And they kind of just here's my lesson plan, do with it what you want to. And in that aspect, I feel like that's kind of not only hurting you as a teacher, but hurting the kids, because you need to have new ideas. And I mean, they can just go get anything off the internet nowadays. You have to make it interesting for them. So we definitely do that. Stephanie definitely makes it fun for me planning, just because it's easy for me to see what she has, and then we can bounce ideas off of each other. I learned this in college. What do you think about that? And she'll be like, oh, yes, but this might not work. That classroom application is something that she has more knowledge of since she's been teaching longer than what I have. So I'm definitely lucky that she is flexible, and I can see that she loves teaching. So that makes me love it. Whereas some of my friends, if they're bogged down, their mentor teacher is bogged down and ready to not be teaching, then it's a negative impact on them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So you think a successful mentoring relationship is a two-way where you're both contributing?
Oh, definitely. And as a new teacher, you have to be flexible as well. I mean, you can't just come in guns blazing I'm going to do, all of these new ideas like flexible seating. I'm going to do all of these things, when you have to kind of earn your stripes, for lack of a better term, and bounce ideas off of each other. Yeah, you might have some great ideas as a new teacher, but I'm sure that your experienced or veteran teacher has some great ideas as well. You both have to be flexible.
So you signed up to teach next year, but the first 3 years, those are the times that most people quit. Do you have any friends that are quitting? And if so, why?
Not that I know of. I do have some friends that aren't happy with where they are, just because of the expectations are high without being explained. And I can see where that would be frustrating. But the school district that I'm in is very mentoring as a whole school. Not only, giving me Stephanie is wonderful, but as a whole school, it's very mentoring. Not only just telling me what I need to do, but explaining what I need to do and why, or how that helps my kids. And that's great. Some of my friends have been the PLCs, as a school, they haven't been offered those as a school. So they kind of are getting discouraged by that. They want to keep extending their learning, but haven't been given the opportunity. So not that I know of any friends that are dropping out, but I am definitely not one of them.
So some of the mistakes are pairing somebody with a teacher who really is ready to quit.
Right, exactly.
Pairing somebody with a teacher who doesn't feel like it's a two-way relationship. It's more like, I'm going to tell you what to do and just do it.
Exactly.
And then the school not having an attitude of learning and moving forward. And then not clearly explaining the duties assigned.
Right. And a lot of schools nowadays are not they don't want to bring a new teacher just because they'd rather have somebody that, has had classroom experience in their own classroom. Some of that was a little bit harder with the hiring process. Like I said, I've got lucky enough with where I am for them to be accepting.
Yeah, every school district is different and every culture is different. That's the thing. So even though you may have an experienced teacher, they may be experienced at another school. So, there's all those challenges. Lindsay, would you just share with all of those who are mentoring right now a 30-second motivational pep talk about being the kind of mentor that will make the first-year teacher want to come to school and teach?
I think a huge part as a mentor that is so encouraging is showing that you love your job and not always talking negative. One thing that Stephanie does is even if I'm having a rough day with a student or anything and I'm kind of venting, she always kind of points out the positive in everything, which is really nice. I think it's really easy as teachers to kind of go back and forth with the negatives, and to have somebody that's very positive and point out the positive is really encouraging at the end of every day. I think it's really important as a mentor to listen. The person that you're mentoring as a first year, my first year has been amazing, and it's also been stressful. So I am able to tell Stephanie when I'm stressed about something, or if I'm worried about something, or if something's not really working how I want it to. She kind of will come in and say, hey, don't worry about this, or kind of be a listening ear without being a judgment, which is really nice. And being really collaborative is such a great thing. If I bring something to the table, she'll be honest and tell me, yeah, that'll work, or hey, that might not work. Or something that she's also done is if she doesn't think it's a great idea or something that she sees won't work, she'll just kind of let it play out for me so that I learn why it won't work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just kind of being flexible is really great, and listening ear and very positive is what I would say is what makes a great mentor, and what I see in Stephanie, what makes her a great mentor.
Yeah, and my mom and my sister, Susan, they mentored me. They were former classroom teachers. And, one of the biggest things is helping the perspective that you were kind of hinting at, of understanding that everything that goes wrong is not a super huge deal. And sometimes this too shall pass. Like right now we're recording this and there's, a week and a half left of school, and it's completely insane. It is completely 100% insane. And sometimes fuses can go short, and it's kind of like, you know what? I'd rather just enjoy the last few weeks and just not be fussy, for lack of a better word.
Exactly.
Some people are just cranky. So anyway, so remarkable educators, there's been a lot of discussion about how can we help beginning teachers get engaged and get excited about the classroom. And I think that we've got a fantastic example here with Stephanie Goldman and Lindsay George that we can kind of take apart and look at a very positive relationship that's happened. And Lindsay, I appreciate your transparency. I also appreciate you speaking for your friends so that folks can kind of understand where are we going wrong and where are we going right, and how can we have more successful mentoring relationships like yours. So I hope that all of you listeners out there will also take a listen to the episode we did with Stephanie Goldman so that you can kind of see both sides of this relationship and what's happening. Thank you, Lindsay, and good luck.
Thank you.
SMART wants to recognize educators across the globe who inspire greatness in their students, peers, or community. Go to coolcatteacher.com/greatness to nominate your favorite educator in recognition of their greatness. Each nominee and nominator will be entered to win a classroom technology package valued at $40,000. So this means the winner and his or her nominee each win a $20,000 package, including one 7000 series smartboard and smart document camera, 30 Chromebooks, and smart training and implementation. Give greatness and nominate a great educator today.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.